What's up, guys? Nathan here, also known as Lil Oki the Monk on US Proudmoore, and I'm back again with another key commentary for you guys. Today we've got a Necrotic Wake 19. Affixes are, of course, Tyrannical, Inspiring Necrotic, and, of course, Prideful. So, like I mentioned before, I did do the Halls 19 commentary yesterday, and this week is one that is typically considered a non-push week, almost just a straight-up dead week for some people, but for my group, we actually really don't mind the affixes. For our play style, they don't really inhibit our ability to time keys so much. And like I said, that probably has something to do with the way sort of we play combined with the level that we play at, being at the quote unquote only 19 range. But in any case, we're back again, and this is a Necrotic Wake 19, and I'm just going to try to focus and be a little bit more on track this time, because last time we did this, or last time I did a commentary, I was just all over the place. So we open up hard here. We just paralyze / CC the inspired mob. So we can go do a quick little double pull there. We blow it up. And I'm trying to get a little bit better about how I play my AoE here. As you guys probably know about the Windwalker changes, it's now very important to get your Mark of the Crane tags and maintain them. And this was very, very hard before the compensation buffs, but now it's a little bit easier, but I still need to actually use my brain. So before, you could kind of just tab target around a little bit, and then the skill would just bug out, and you would just kind of have like 5 or 6 Mark of the Crane sticks all the fucking time. That's not really the case anymore. Now you kind of need to pay attention to that. So here we're having a drain go off. I didn't really even see who he was targeting. I just kind of like popped my defensives in case they were going to be on me. Not the smartest play there, but on the off chance that was on me, that would have been a damage gain, and it would have been a safety gain as well. Luckily, though, it was on our mage. I think he instantly blocked it is probably what he did, even though he did manage to pull it apart and then fear the mob. I think he blocked it just to play it safe, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, because that cast hurts a lot. And of course, it's a stun. Speaking of stuns, the way we play this pack up here is I always just sort of get a double stun right off the bat, and then my warrior and I call our kicks, and then we just try to kick these two. This is a bit of a deceptively tricky pack here, because the Vanguard is actually the thing that needs to be focused down the most, but at the same time, these harvesters need to be kicked. You cannot let any drain fluids ever go off. And because my warrior and I have, the combined, well, actually her IQ is a little higher than mine, but because my IQ is, about the same number of that of a peanut, so I kind of struggle to kill one mob while consistently kicking another. You can actually solve that with focus macro kicks, but I don't use those. But yeah, so that's always a little bit tricky for me. Luckily, this is not a fortified week, so we're not super punished by taking our time killing the Vanguard. My tank can sort of get 20 necrotic stacks and just sort of like be just fine. So we're doing a pride here, and we're not committing any cooldowns to this, and that's just because even though I've mentioned that I'm trying to play a little bit less greedy and not just get tons of value out of my pride and try more to like make sure the key doesn't get dangerous, it's like very important that you have the pride buff going into bosses on Tyrannical Week. That's the trade-off. And then also we have the Goliath buff here, and we tend to fix the Goliath around 50%. We grab the buff. Maybe we forgot to do it here, but okay, there we get the buff here. We're going to grab them, and if you get the buff and you stand near your allies, you will heal them up, because I think the buff heals nearby targets. Yeah, you can see we're kind of bouncing a little bit with our life. Sykes does die there, but that's just because we took too long to fix the Goliath. We kind of needed it to, have everybody survive. So we're popping off here. I kind of misplayed my rotation a little bit. I could have gotten to 5 chi much faster than I did, but I was being stubborn and waiting for Expel Harm, because that's the opener I like the most. So I'm trying to tag these guys, get a few more Mark of the Crane stacks before we go in here. One thing you can kind of do with this boss, and this is obviously more apparent now that they've sort of changed Mark of the Crane, is you can actually grab Mark of the Crane stacks from the little engorged maggots, whatever those things are, and then you can have your Dance of Chi-Ji procs be a little bit juicier. Not really a huge deal, but it is just one of those things that I'm trying to min-max a little bit more. So I get the Heaving Wretch. Something I should probably mention, the way we play this fight is we try to put the Heaving Wretch right into the wall or into an area where we don't really want to be standing. And that sort of allows us to kill the boss without having to use any of the area in the middle. And we're trying to kill those little ticks there, or little maggots there, because they can actually hit pretty hard. I think we're actually letting them live a little bit longer than we should and just counting on passive cleave, which is not the best idea, because they can do a lot of damage. But we are killing him. Not a huge deal here. I thought that was on me, even though it said Heaving Wretch on Stuctive. My mistake. So I'm trying to like CC, or I'm trying to knock these guys out here because they are just nailing us right now. Look at our life bars just freaking going to 6 flags right now. We kill them though, and we have about 370k life left. Execute range, no problem at all. We're just going to finish this guy off here. Overall, I think my burst suffered a little bit by sort of misplaying my opener, but overall our damage wasn't that big of a deal. Even at the 19 tyrannical range, we have more than enough damage to sort of knock these bosses out. These little blood gorges, yeah, that's gonna murder Sykes right there, because she gets the debuff on her there from taking the Heaving Wretch, which is just, you know, what you have to do. There's nothing you can do about it. But then, unfortunately, the little maggots went on her, and that's just rip. She needed like she needed a cleanse, which could have come from me, and she needed to be like topped, otherwise she was just dead. So here we have another double corpse harvester pull, and this pull can get a little bit spicy because we do combine with some blight bags usually, and I think we're going to be fine here, but my tank is going to take a lot of necrotic stacks. Let's see how many he gets. He's at 24. See if he gets to 30. I doubt he's going to get the reset here. They jump. Oh, maybe he's getting the reset. Oh yeah, he's far away as hell. Yeah, he's going to get the reset. I just drop a random ROP just like out in Africa. That didn't help him in any way, but that's okay. I put it down for fun. But yeah, that pull can get a little bit spicy because usually we combine blight bags, but he waited. He didn't combine them right away, which is really good because if he had, we would have had double drain fluids that would be inspired going off, and that would just be like a recipe for disaster. And you can also see here how he's getting another 20 plus necrotic stacks. If he would have combined early, then he probably would be like a 40, 50 stat gamer / potentially dead demon hunter on the ground. We're just chugging along here, knocking these guys off. One thing you can do is you can also cleanse these if you're playing a monk. And it is good to cleanse, but it's also good to continue to do damage. And cleanse does cost a little bit of energy. So usually I don't cleanse until the end of the pull. Let's see if I do it. Okay, I cleanse at the end of the pull. I go to mount and then I'm like, hey, I forgot to cleanse. And then I go and I cleanse. Luckily, that doesn't hit too hard. At least not on this week. So I'm going to repair this here. I always forget what it is. Can you reactivate this Goliath? And I can also do a little setup here to sort of make it easier. I do a para and then I do a ROP to try to get them away. And because I'm able to do that, we're able to grab all of the buffs. I'm trying to let people know, hey guys, I got the para ROP. We can go get the buffs. I don't know if we get all the buffs. We get most of the buffs. We get all the buffs. Perfect. Here I don't realize I have the stupid AoE on me. I just barely get out in time. Almost dropped that on my entire party. But we're all healing each other here during this pull, so that's nice. We have a Frostbolt volley going off. I just karma it because I know we're not going to be able to stop it. And we just finished the pull, no problem at all. So that's one thing you can do with the with para ROP there. It lets you make sure you get those little anima exhaust things very, very easily. We're going to kill this Marauder here. I think I commit cooldowns to this, maybe. No, I do not commit cooldowns here. I thought I committed cooldowns here, but I think, you know what? I probably see like combust going off or something. I'm like, okay, we're not going to need to commit cooldowns to this because the guy who does the gruesome cleave, the Marauder, he has a mechanic called Bone Shatter Shield where he will periodically put a little shield on himself, and it's kind of a relatively thick absorb that lasts kind of a short amount of time. But if you can break the absorb before it actually just expires, then he'll just take a massive chunk of his life, something like 70 to 80% of his max life. So usually I like to commit cooldowns to that, but it looks like my mage did it, so we didn't have to, which means my cooldowns are now freed up to be used on these guys, who also very desperately need to be cooldown. So I'm just popping off here. I'm going to start using my buttons a little bit early, but that's okay. He's probably going to press his shield in a second. I kick it. Then I go to town. Yeah, I went a little bit early. I should have waited some because then I didn't have any chi spenders when I needed to. But I really like actually cooldowning those two here because we always get a Pride right after, which means I officially have cooldowns rolling into Pride, which, as I mentioned before, not super efficient when you're playing for overalls, but very efficient when you're trying to go for a smooth key. Because now my mage is able to just, completely continue to farm Combust. He doesn't have to think about using it on this Pride. So for the next pull here, I don't know if we go for the full spicy pull. I don't think we do because this is a 19. This is our first 19 wake. But giving my mage Combust on the next pull can be very strong because there is a variation of this key you can run where you, after this Pride, you use this Pride damage to pull the pack in the middle, the Pat right there, this monstrosity, as well as the next cleaver pack or marauder pack directly to the left. And we're not doing that here because, well, we just don't want to wipe, but if we wanted to, we could do that. So we're just trying to kill these guys here. We'll see what I focus here. I think the most important target to focus down is the Bone Carver while kicking the Sorcerer off cooldown, because the Bone Carver puts that very nasty bleed / max life reduction effect on your tank. So I don't think we did not focus the Bone Carver, but I killed the caster and now I'm back on the Bone Carver, so that's fine. I think that's the second best option. Get rid of the caster and get rid of the Bone Carver and then get on the caster. The monstrosity is deceptively not scary. He looks scary, but he's really not. Almost all of his mechanics can be entirely avoided outside of the tank buster, which is Shatter. And I think Shatter is just a big physical hit. I don't really think it's anything else. It never really kills my tank. It can do a lot of damage, right? But it has a kind of a long cooldown in between casts. So you can just kind of have mitigation up or, use a cooldown depending on what kind of spec you're playing. So we're killing the Marauder here. It looks like we failed. No, okay, we didn't fail to get the shield. Okay, he hunts the shield. Perfect. And I think we get him down here. It's a little tight. Yeah, we got it. No problem. I was rolling cooldowns there. My warrior was rolling cooldowns there. Easy. Easy clap. One thing we noticed here that's really fun about this key, and then I roll back to get my Pelagos orbs. Kind of funny. One thing that we can do with Demon the Hunter, I don't know why I had to make that joke. It wasn't very funny, but one thing you can do with using the hunt is these Bone Shatter shields. You can actually kind of just pop them for free with only your tank on a 1.5 cooldown. If he crits, it literally just removes the shield instantly. If he doesn't crit, the dot from it removes the shield. So he could hunt that right away if he really wanted to, and it would be dead. He doesn't have hunt because he did it on the last one, but it's just kind of a neat thing. So we remove that one pretty quickly with Combust. We're going to keep going here. We're going to try to kick the Bone Men's, try to kick Final Bargain. Maybe I'll ROP this. No, I just let the Final Bargain go off, I guess. Sure. Why not? That guy dies very fast. I don't even know what hits him. Maybe just gets condemned for half his life or something. So we're leaving that guy there. I assume we're going to just kill him with Pride or something. Okay, we don't have a para for that. Can we get a fear? We did get a fear. It was just a hair too late, but now that it's feared, we don't have to worry about it for the rest of the pull. I don't kick that either because I kicked a random bolt. Someone else kicked it. No big deal. Yeah, so when I talk about fearing, for those of you that don't run with paladins have a, not new, it's actually an old ability, but they have an ability called Turn Evil, and it lets them fear, I think it's undead mobs and demons and maybe aberrations as well, for 20 seconds. And you can kind of use that as a CC. It's kind of a bit of a shorter one, but I don't think it has a cooldown. And if it does have a cooldown, it's very, very short. So you can kind of keep a mob CC. They'll just sort of run all over the place. So you just got to be smart about when you use it. We've actually used it on Plaguefall before on the first boss to CC the big slime if we don't have a paralyze or whatever. I've been running my Death Knight with them on that key, so we typically don't have a paralyze for that dungeon anymore. Although I will be uploading a Plaguefall 19 where I forgot to play my Death Knight recently, so you'll get to see that. Kill the Pride, no problem. Commit Touch of Death. That's how it is. We were thinking of going back to kill that mob, but then we decided, hey, let's not waste any Pride. We'll just keep him CC'd. So my Demon Hunter just agrees to sort of imprison him. I save my Paralyze in case we need to do that. And now we just pop off on the boss here. This is a dead boss, actually. This is kind of interesting. We initially thought this boss was very hard, I mean, obviously early in the expansion, he was very, very hard, but we kind of just discovered that since the nerfs to this boss, all you really have to do is set up a kick order and kill the ads. Like, it's really not that bad. And then also the, I think it's Land of the Dead, but the cast that sort of sacrifices his minions and then deals a shit ton of damage, basically one-shotting you. If you CC the mob while the cast is going off, it doesn't actually do anything. Final Harvest, that's the name of it. But as you can see, we have a mage CC'd in the back. His evil has been turned, and that made it so we were able to just completely ignore him, and the cast didn't actually hurt us. So we're trying to rotate our kicks properly here. I think we're doing an okay job. It doesn't really look too bad. Basically, nobody's like health in this fight should drop like crazy unless your tank is not picking up the ads and you guys are like not kicking the bolts. But I think we're doing a pretty good job kicking the bolts here. Easy. Yeah, so we committed no weapons to that too, which is something I'm very happy with. That fight, we used to always spear hammer that fight, and then we started to realize we were just grotesquely overkilling him. Like we were like overkilling a boss that didn't have like scary or difficult mechanics, at least at the key level we're at right now. Like 19 Tyrannical, there's nothing scary about that boss if you just set up a kick order and use your brain. I stayed in that well for a little bit there, take like half my life. No bearing on the actual state of the key, just kind of something embarrassing I wanted to point out. So we're going on here. I'm going to go grab the weapons. Usually we have my healer get the first set, my warrior get the second set because she can actually just get them during the invis pack, or not the pack we invis. She can get it very easily by using Shadow Meld as like a last ditch resort if she messes up, as well as Heroic Leap and I think Door of Shadows. I think she only needs the Door of Shadows. That's really the only thing she needs, but I think Heroic Leap is also useful. And I think Shadow Meld also lets her sort of, cover her mistakes. I don't know why I'm checking my healer's saying like, God, I'm doing so much damage here. And I check her thing. I'm like, damn, consecration popping off apparently. I always tell my healer that she's actually such a DPS player. And I don't mean that to be rude. I just like the way she plays. It's like so obvious that she enjoys doing damage. Gets very excited when she gets to do a lot of damage. We're flying up. So this is basically the make or break part of the key here. There's a couple scary pulls up here, and if you play them smart, there's no issue at all, but there is little room for error. If you make a mistake, if you let a gore spider go off, if you let a drain go off, if you don't properly focus down a stitch work, it can be a little bit scary up here. So we're going to focus the stitch work. I'm going to immediately get on this collector, and I'm going to try to kick him right away. I do the gore spider and they say, okay guys, I'm gonna fucking pop off now as someone else's problem. Actually, no, I punch him in here because he'll just sit there throwing shit at you if you don't. Let's see, we get a DB off there. DB into kick feels bad, man. I'm using some cooldowns. I use them a little bit late, so they're actually gonna kind of go to waste, but I just really didn't want stuff to go off. I sort of panic leg sweep that, but I don't think that's a big deal. Gore Splatter hurts a lot. Even on Tyrannical, that's a cast you never want to see go off. And I think it puts a pretty juicy dot on everybody as well. Get on here, going on the little creation. I pop another SEF charge. One of the cool flexibilities of Monk is sort of what you can do with 2 charge minute half cooldowns. It's not as like OP, as something like Combust every 2 minutes that can be farmed down to like a minute and a half. But it's still cool to have 2 charges. You can kind of like commit cooldowns to 1 pack. If the pack dies quickly, you can just hold your second charge. Oh, Sev unfortunately gets hit there. His heart was in the right place, but the little creation moved at the last second. And then you can sort of use your second charge on the next pack. This pull's kind of taking a while actually. Okay, Sev is going to be careful here. Unfortunately, the thing that he was trying to, get the intercept with dies. Poor Sev, can't catch a break. He played both of those correctly, but in the end, the Leo creation just wasn't exactly where he needed him to be. So we're just finishing off this Flesh Crafter. Fucking longest Flesh Crafter kill in the world. We're going to head over here now. I'm going to paralyze this Patchwork Soldier because he is accompanied by a Collector who's going to use Gore Splatter, Drain Fluids, and of course throw Flesh. I kick the Gore Splatter. Somebody else is going to worry about the next one. I'm like saving cooldowns at this point because I'm pretty sure we're very close to a pride. And I'm actually not sure how I commit cooldowns. We're gonna sit here and we're gonna critique. My cooldowns are coming up right now. I'm holding them. I imagine what I'm probably going to do here is I'm probably going to hold them all the way through Pride and then use them on the next big pull is probably what's going to happen. We're just murdering this collector here, taking our time. 4K DPS Andes. Now we're going to knock out this soldier. Yeah, this guy's Pride right here. So we're all just kind of like playing chicken right now. I think we could have gotten one cooldown on this pack and it would not have been a big deal. Probably not mine because I'm I'm a 2-minute guy. But we could probably have gotten a combust on the pack, or I think Avatar is like I don't actually know the cooldown on Avatar. I want to say it's like 1.5 minutes. But yeah, we'll just watch. Next time Sykes uses it, we'll just see what the add-on tells me. I think it's like 20-second duration, 1.5 minutes cooldown, and then C Smash, which you always overlap with it, is 45-second. I have not played a warrior in a moment. Funny story about my warrior. I was playing him last expansion, and I was playing with 2 friends, right? And one of my friends was tanking, and the friend that was tanking just fucking botched the dungeon so bad and played so fucking stupid and wasted so many people's time that he just like burned bridges and like eliminated a friendship. Rest in peace, that warrior. I haven't like played him since. Rip the boy. Okay, so we're gonna pop cooldowns here. I'm a little late on pressing my buttons. Why have you not? Okay, I leg swept. That's why I was waiting. I was waiting until they're all leg swept, which is actually kind of dumb because I want to save for spine crush. I should not have leg swept that early. Luckily, we do get them all grouped up together. So even though that leg sweep didn't gain me much damage, I managed to do a really good job of getting them grouped up for my mage. And as you can see, he just annihilated that pack, just completely spiked up to 50k DPS. Beautiful flame patch placement. Feels good, man. And you guys may not have seen it, but there was a throw cleaver on me, and I like kited it perfectly towards the creation, which was kind of funny to see. If I was like even a hair on either side, that creation would have just not been hit. I would have been hit and it would have been a big ouchie. I kicked that late. I don't know why. We let a tick of drain go off onto my healer, I think, for no reason. Very odd choice. So we're moving on here. Now we have I don't know if we can even call this the gauntlet, but we have a couple set of ads here. These ads are kind of annoying because they have a lot of life, but they're not like particularly dangerous, I guess. I mean, you can die if you misplay. If you don't kick a drain or you face tank a morbid fixation, you'll die. But that's about it. Mostly these mobs are just annoying because they have a lot of life and they kind of just run all over the place, so you can't cleave them super well. Okay, that's on me. I'm like, oh crap, I got to get to the other one. And I just barely make it. I didn't really realize the cleaver was on me until the last second, but luckily Monk has good mobility. Part of why it's a fun spec for me. Morbid fixation going out, doesn't matter, we just kill him. Now we're back on the assistant. We're going to finish him off. And we're good to go. Now we have to do the gore grind pull. This is probably the most dangerous pull in the dungeon to the tank. You have to kill gore grind quickly. Now I don't think we commit cooldowns to gore grind, but that's only because this is a tyrannical week. If this was a fortified week, we would have okay. So Sev actually commits cooldowns. That's really good. But I think he's more doing AoE damage, which is less important. When you commit cooldowns to this guy, you actually want to focus gore grind down, because gore grind puts the stacking debuff on your tank that makes him, I think it either sunders his armor or just makes him take increased physical damage. But it's really important to focus down gore grind. All the little ads that are with him, they have very small amounts of life and they're just going to die anyway. As long as you're playing with like 1 or 2 cleave specs. Windwalker is indeed like, I don't want to say it's the cleave spec, but it's a very cleavy spec. I literally can't single target without dumping like half my damage into AoE. That's just sort of like how I work, especially with Dance of Chi-Chi. Very proud of myself watching this here. I have not been hit by a gut slice yet. Oh, we get a quick little taunt there. Make sure my tank gets the reset. So yeah, that's just one thing to know. Oh, do I get gut sliced? I don't. Wow, that was really close. Yeah, that's one thing to note here. When you're cooldowning this pack, which is a totally fine decision and something you should be doing on fortified weeks, make sure you single target gore grind. All the ads are just superfluous. They don't really matter. And they will only kill your tank if, Gorgrind has a chance to stack up his increased physical damage taken debuff. If Gorgrind's dead, they don't do enough damage to kill your tank. Rodspew is also an annoying ad, but he's annoying for different reasons. He's more annoying like to your healer, because it just puts, tons of stupid magic damage on you, just literally for standing near him. I guess if you had like an all ranged comp, you could probably see him as like a joke, but we run 2 melee, so it's just kind of annoying. And the spew mechanic is kind of irritating as well. I think my warrior can spell reflect the spew, and it either just doesn't do damage or like it doesn't hit her. I'm not sure what the mechanic is exactly, but for us, more, I would say, ethical melee, but no. Windwalker is anything but ethical. For most other classes, I don't think there's much you can do about the spew other than sort of like get it out and pop a personal. So we're trying to kill him here. We're getting him in the corner. Then we're going to get the pride, and then we're going to invis right away. This is a very common strategy for high-level key pushers, but it's something we're just employing for the first time here, I think. I don't think we've actually ever invised a pride before this in like a real push key. But yeah, we invis the pride, we leave him over there, and I love this strategy for Necrotic Wake, especially Tyrannical, where the bosses are really important, because we don't need like pride for this boss, right? Unless we're like absolutely just hellbent on one phasing him, we really don't need it, because we can just lust, we can throw weapons, and we can kind of pop off. I don't think this is going to be a one phase, but we're going to murder this guy. It's like, even if it's a one phase, even if it's a 2 phase, it doesn't matter, because we've just put him so low that the second he sort of goes back up there, we'll just get him back down and kill him. Also, cool thing you can do, I'm sure you guys have noticed this right now, Morbid Fixate. We really do our best to just sort of put a bop on whoever gets fixated, and you just ignore the mechanic. It's especially important for melee DPS, but I mean also for any, turret sort of caster. You might as well put bop on that person and let them stay in DPS. Me being able to stay in there is probably the difference between, getting him to like 30% life and getting him to like 10% life. And with the sort of nature of this fight, where occasionally just random like ads will spawn when they're not supposed to, it's good to sort of get this guy as low as possible if you're going for a 2-phase kill. I mean, obviously, literally dead 1 phase is ideal, but that's not a huge deal. The difference between a very low life 2 phase and a 1 phase is just not astronomical, in my opinion. I'm sure there's some very high level key pushers that might disagree with that assessment, but I think it's whatever. So we're killing pride now, and this is why I just am like swooning over this strategy, because typically I hate how we kill the boss here. We've all just blown our cooldowns, just completely destroyed that boss, and then we have to go up and we have to fight Kolthorok with no cooldowns. Kolthorok is the worst boss in this instance, in my opinion. I think maybe before nerfs it might have been Amaranth. That, I don't know if that's the name of a streamer. That's not the name of you know what I mean. The second boss, I thought that guy was maybe the worst, but after the changes, I think Kolthorok is the worst. But yeah, because we get to do the pride there in between bosses, we actually get to get our cooldowns back up, and we get to have pride, and we get to just pop this guy. Look at us just popping this dude. We're throwing all our weapons. We got 2 hammers, we got 2 spears, we got all our cooldowns, we got pride. The only thing we don't have is bloodlust, but like, who cares, right? We already have him at like 43%. Fight's been active for what, 10 seconds? Just instantly pop his shield. We're just going to town on this guy. I don't think we call who stays in, but I'm just kind of doing it. That's one thing we've been trying to do, is make it so when Comet Storm goes out, we have one person stay in. Usually it's to make sure we pop the stupid shield on him. Well, I forget what it's called. We'll see the name of it here. I think it's called like Ice Aegis or something. Wow, I'm just shaking my camera like a mad person, huh? Icebound Aegis, I think that's what it's called. But we have one person stay in usually, just to make it a little bit easier. I kind of walk in a weird way there. I think I almost clip my healer. That would be yikes. Or maybe I clip my warrior, I'm not sure. But a little bit dangerous. Yeah, we've been trying to have people stay in here, and it makes it a lot easier. You can pop the Icebound Aegis, you can get really good damage uptime. Yeah, good stuff. Oh yeah, this is a bit awkward. Here we have the root mechanic on me, and I'm waiting for everyone to get out so I can Tiger's List myself. Nobody gets out, I just sit there and die. And then my healer told me it was my fault, so, you know. Oops. Not really sure how that works out. I could have popped defensives, actually, and I could have saved myself, but usually for that kind of mechanic, I just sort of like, you know, assume other people are just gonna, you know, move. But I could have also popped Karma Fort Brew there, and that would have been a pretty nice damage gain. Because, you know, when you take maximum damage into Karma Fort Brew, that's like, man, how much damage would that be? It's like fucking 50% of your max life, but with like additional max life. That's like probably like 30k damage right there. But yeah, that's it. That's the plus 19 Necrotic Wake, about a minute away from the plus 2. But I'm really proud of my team here. This is a key that we used to struggle with a lot, but now it's a very easy key. And I think we all sort of have put in the time, and it feels good to finally time the 19 version of this on a Tyrannical, no less. So I hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. I'll be back soon for, I think I have a DOS, and I also have a Plaguefall 19 that I need to get around to doing a commentary for. But until next time, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.